2023 Hamas attack that sparked the entire war in Gaza. The Shin Bet is responsible for monitoring Palestinian militant groups. It recently issued a report accepting responsibility for its failures around the October 7 attack. But it also criticized Netanyahu, saying failed government policies helped create the climate that led to the attack.
אזרחי ישראל, אנחנו בעיצומה של מלחמה על עצם קיומנו. מלחמה בשבע חזיתות. בכל עת, אבל במיוחד במלחמה קיומית כזאת, חייב להיות אמון מלא של ראש הממשלה בראש השב"כ. אבל לצערי, המצב הפוך. אין לי אמון כזה.
A charity in northern Gaza has been distributing hot meals to war-weary Palestinians during the Muslim fasting month of Ramadan. Palestinians in Gaza have struggled to feed their families as Israel's two-week-long blockade of Gaza continues. Many have resorted to charities to get hot meals for their children. We were forced to come to the charity due to the scarcity of materials, is what Hassan Radwan, a Palestinian man from the urban Jabalia refugee camp, said. He said that the residents, most of whom live in tents close to or over their destroyed homes, suffer from a shortage of water, a shortage of food, and a shortage of everything, he said. The war has left most of Gaza's population of over 2 million dependent on international aid. About 600 aid trucks had entered daily since the ceasefire began on January 19. U.S. Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard met with Defense Minister Rajnath Singh today. She spoke with NDTV's Vishnu Shom earlier and talked about the Ukraine war and India-U.S. ties. Yesterday, she joined intelligence and security officials from about 20 countries for a conclave chaired by the National Security Advisor Ajit Doval in Delhi. This makes her the first high-ranking official from the second Donald Trump administration to visit the country.
The situation between Russia and Ukraine, and we're all optimistic, and I've covered the war 3 times on seeing peace in the area. Tens of thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people on both sides have lost their lives. Be that as it may, if President Putin doesn't come on the table with the peace agreement which has been proposed by the United States, can Washington indefinitely keep arming Ukraine and, in a sense, allowing them to continue their fight?
President Trump is seeing this ongoing conflict with very clear eyes. And he has made his position and his priority very clear, which is to bring about an end to this war. So he is focused on peace. The negotiations have just begun. He's looking forward to success in those negotiations, not for himself, but for the cause of peace and to stop the killing of innocent and taking of innocent lives there. So he has the best negotiators working with both the Ukrainians and with Russia and with Putin. And we look forward to seeing the continued progress that we've already seen over a very short period of time. I think it's important to point out that under the previous administration, during which this war began, there was no effort. There was no effort at all towards peace. There was no effort to have direct dialogue with Putin and with Russia to try to bring about an end to this war. So already, in a very short period of time, President Trump has made much more progress towards peace than any effort that has occurred by anyone previously. So we're very encouraged by this progress, and President Trump remains committed to the objective of peace.
How much of what you're talking about now is premised on a successful conversation between President Trump and President Putin? I believe that might take place tomorrow or day after.
Well, as you know, with any of these kinds of negotiations, there's a lot of work that goes between people representing both countries or all of the countries involved in this situation. And at the appropriate time, I'm sure that President Trump will have a very productive conversation with Putin, once again, rooted in his unwavering commitment to peace. Ties between our two countries, the United States and India, go very, very far back. And so what we're continuing to see is a strengthening of that partnership and recognizing that the mutual interests of both of our countries are centered around peace, prosperity, freedom, and security. So now as we see a new administration coming in with President Trump's leadership in the United States, of course, Prime Minister Modi's long-standing leadership here in India, we have 2 leaders of our 2 great countries who are very good friends and who are very focused on how we can strengthen those shared objectives and those shared interests. very shortly after he was inaugurated back into office for a second term, where they really set the tone and set the vision for where a stronger U.S.-India partnership and friendship can lead to. And so my visit here is really predicated on the work that has already been done, and I've been having great conversations with my counterparts here in the Indian government. I just met with the Minister of Defense a few minutes ago, and looking forward to visiting with Prime Minister Modi here later today.
And the New Zealand Prime Minister, Christopher Luxon, is also in India. He met with Prime Minister Modi today. A string of MOUs was signed during the meet. Prime Minister Modi said that negotiations on an FTA with New Zealand have begun. Earlier, India and New Zealand announced the relaunch of free trade agreement talks after a 10-year break. The announcement of the talks comes as India has stated its aim to conclude trade negotiations with the US and the European Union this year. Luxon arrived in New Delhi for a 5-day visit till the 20th of March. Prime Minister Narendra Modi, in a podcast with Lex Fridman, has expressed deep admiration for Donald Trump. Prime Minister also asserted that there was a concerted effort to create the perception that the 2002 riots were the biggest ever in Gujarat, which he says was far from reality. Prime Minister also shred Pakistan in this podcast.
भारत और चीन का संबंध ये कोई आज का नहीं है। दोनों पुरातन संस्कृति है, पुरातन सिविलाइजेशन है, और मॉडर्न वर्ल्ड में भी अपनी उनकी भूमिका है। डिफरेंसेस तो होते हैं, दो पड़ोसी देश होते हैं तो कुछ न कुछ तो होता है। ऑकेजनल डिसएग्रीमेंट भी बहुत स्वाभाविक है, कोई ऐसा तो हर चीज नहीं होता, एक परिवार में भी रहता है। लेकिन हमारी कोशिश है कि हमारे जो डिफरेंसेस हैं डिस्प्यूट में ना बदले, उस दिशा में हमारा प्रयास रहता है। उसी प्रकार से हम डिस्कॉर्ड नहीं, डायलॉग, इसी पर बात कर बल देते हैं। ये सीख है कि हमारा सीमा विवाद चलता रहता है। तो 2020 में जो सीमा पर जो घटनाएं घटी, उसके कारण हमारे बीच स्थितियां काफी दूरी की बन गई। लेकिन अभी राष्ट्रपति श्री के साथ मेरा मिलना हुआ, उसके बाद सीमा पर जो चीजें थी उसमें नॉर्मल से आ चुकी हैं। 2020 के पहले की स्थिति में हम लोग अब काम कर रहे हैं। अब धीरे धीरे वो विश्वास और वो उत्साह और उमंग और ऊर्जा वापस आ जाए।
North Macedonia has declared a 7-day period of mourning after a fire in a nightclub that left at least 59 dead and scores injured as authorities detained 15 people for questioning. And the Interior Minister said a preliminary inspection revealed the club was operating without a proper license. The fire ripped through the Pulse nightclub during a hip-hop concert 1,500 people are said to have been attending. This concert at the time, only one member of the band that was performing is said to have survived and was being treated in hospital. The fire, according to preliminary reports, is thought to have been triggered by the use of special effects pyrotechnic devices. Authorities have discovered clothing believed to belong to the missing University of Pittsburgh student Sudiksha Konanki on a lounge chair at the Dominican Republic beach, where she mysteriously vanished over a week ago. This according to local reports. Images show a white netted sarong draped over a beach chair and a pair of sand-covered beige flip-flops next to it. Investigators stated that the clothing appeared undisturbed. Unusually vicious and damaging weather across multiple U.S. states spawned violent tornadoes, blinding dust storms and fast-moving wildfires this weekend, leaving at least 37 people dead. The dynamic storm that began on Friday earned an unusual high-risk designation from weather forecasters. Still, experts said it's not unusual to see such weather extremes in March. Wind-driven wildfires caused extensive damage in Texas and Oklahoma, and officials warned that parts of both states would again face an increased risk of fire danger this week as well. The United States has flown more than 200 immigrants, alleged members of a Venezuelan gang, to be imprisoned in El Salvador. President Nayib Bukele has said after Donald Trump controversially invoked wartime legislation to expel them. The deportations on Sunday took place despite U.S. federal judge granting a temporary suspension of the expulsions order, apparently as planes were already headed to El Salvador. The new Canadian Prime Minister, Mark Carney, is heading to Paris and London to seek alliances as he deals with U.S. President Donald Trump's attacks on Canada's sovereignty and economy. He will also meet with King Charles III, the head of state in Canada. NASA confirms that Sunita Williams' Earth returned, with curiosity building over the return of the pair of U.S. astronauts stuck for more than 9 months on the International Space Station. NASA has now confirmed that the duo will return to Earth on Tuesday, 18th of March. Sunita Williams and Butch Wilmore will be transported home aboard a SpaceX Crew Dragon craft. A devastating attack on a bus carrying paramilitary troops in Balochistan has resulted in the deaths of 5 soldiers and injured over 30. This marks the second major attack on security forces in the region. The Balochistan Liberation Army has claimed responsibility for the attack. The Vatican on Sunday released the first photograph of the Pope in more than a month, showing Pope Francis co-celebrating Mass in the hospital chapel. The photograph is taken from behind and shows Pope Francis wearing a purple stole, sitting on a wheelchair in front of an altar. The Vatican said he was participating in the celebration of the Mass with other priests. No one else is visible in this photograph. It is the first photograph of the Pope since he was hospitalized on 14th of February with a severe case of bronchitis which developed into double pneumonia. It is also the first time the Vatican has mentioned that the Pope has participated in celebrating a Mass during the period. Police in New York City are searching for a person they say set a man on fire near Times Square. The department says the crime happened shortly before 4 a.m. on Sunday near West 41st Street and 7th Avenue. Officers spotted the 45-year-old victim and extinguished the flames. He was taken to a nearby hospital in stable condition. Police say they believe the victim knows the suspect. They declined to comment further, saying the case remains under investigation. Video from the scene shows the victim being treated for burn injuries to his face, chest, and arms. Nearly 7 months after a crocodile attack almost took her life, Munirpa walked to the estuary outside her home with her husband and children, ready to brave a reenactment. Munirpa, who like many Indonesians only uses one name, recounted how one early morning in August, she threw her household garbage into a creek about 50 meters away from her house as she normally would. She didn't see what was coming next. By the time she realized a crocodile had attacked her, the 4-meter-long animal had already sunk its teeth into most of her body, sparing only her head. She fought hard trying to jab its eyes. Her husband, hearing her screams, ran over and tried to pull her by the thigh out of the crocodile's jaws. A tug-of-war ensued. The reptile whipped him with its tail. Fortunately, he saved Munirpa in time, eventually dragging her out of the crocodile's grip. People have long feared the ancient predators in the central Mamuju district of Indonesia's West Sulawesi, where the Budong-Budong River meets the sea. With that, we'll slip into a short break. More news and updates coming up.
Whatever you need to ask about cancer, Macmillan's free support line is just a call away.
Hello, Macmillan.
Whether it's money,
am I going to lose my job?
getting on with life,
Can I still go abroad? Get insurance?
or just need someone to listen,
How do I tell them?
our specialist advisors are here to help as often as you need them. Whatever you need to ask, cancer, money, life, call us now on 0808 134 1000.
What? A Dorito Square? Find one to win up to 10K with a Minecraft movie.
No child should suffer the torture of trachoma. But so many are in pain right now. Nananga's lashes have turned inwards. They rip and tear away at his eyes. Pomelo's sight could be gone forever. He's just 3 years old. Kofanga screams for his mother. His eyes are so infected that he can't even see her. For so many children in the world's poorest countries, trachoma is torture. It's a painful infection often spread by flies, and it's destroying children's eyesight. But it could be stopped if you help today. By calling 0800 038 4926 and giving £1 a week to Sightsavers, you can help make sure children get the treatment they desperately need. You'll help us bring them the medicines and the care that can treat infections. And that means you'll be helping to save children from the torture of trachoma and a life of blindness. Please help us reach them. Call 0800 038 4926. Text C13 to 82727 or go online and give just £1 a week now. Because we need you to help save the sight of children like Nananga. We need you to help save them from the torture of trachoma.
Health isn't someday in the future, it's now. It's same-day GP appointments, physio without GP referrals, cancer testing, scans and diagnosis fast. Questions for an expert at any hour about anything. Routine dental checkups every year for brighter smiles. Support that lasts for as long as it takes. Feeling your best every day starts today. Call or go online now for your quote.
We know travel can be confusing, so let us inspire you. Welcome to Qatar. Experience it all. World-class hospitality, diverse landscapes from city to sea, and fly there with the Airline of the Year 2022, Qatar Airways. Book now at travelup.com or call 0207 580 5000. Travel Up, flights, hotels, holidays.
Welcome back. Let's take you through the top news. And once the United States has imposed tariffs on its major trading partners, it could engage in bilateral talks with countries on new trade arrangements. Secretary of State Marco Rubio said the U.S. President Donald Trump threatened on Thursday to slap a 200% tariff on wine, cognac and other alcohol imports from Europe, opening a new front in a global trade war that has roiled financial markets and raised recession fears. The Bank of England is expected to keep interest rates on hold as policymakers face a fog of uncertainty over U.S. President Donald Trump's developing tariff policy and upcoming UK tax rises. Experts widely think that the bank's Monetary Policy Committee will hold rates at 4.5% on Thursday. The MPC has been gradually cutting borrowing costs since August last year, raising pressure on some borrowers who have seen lower mortgage rates enter the market. Porsche SE, Volkswagen's biggest shareholder, is not considering selling voting shares in Europe's largest car maker, the holding firm said, following a newspaper report that it was weighing such a move. According to reports, Porsche and PH families that control Porsche SE were considering divesting shares in Volkswagen to free up capital for other investments. Reports said possible scenarios include reducing the stake in Volkswagen's ordinary shares to 45 to 50% from 53.3% at present. According to Reuters calculation, that would raise 1.07 billion to 2.69 billion euros. Fast fashion retailer Forever 21's U.S. operating company on Sunday filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy for the second time in 6 years, hamstrung by dwindling mall traffic and mounting competition from online retailers. The move likely means liquidation for the company, which was unable to find a buyer for its roughly 350 U.S. stores. Its trademark and intellectual property, still held by an entity called Authentic Brands Group, may live on in a different form. Swiss pharmaceutical giant Novartis opens new tab, says it is watching very carefully how the reciprocal tariff policy proposed by the United States would unfold in early April. Chief Executive Vas Narasimhan said in Tokyo. U.S. President Donald Trump last month flagged potential import duties of about 25% on pharmaceuticals as part of measures affecting other industries, including semiconductors and automobiles, as he seeks to reshape global trade. Corbin Bosch has been served a legal notice by the Pakistan Cricket Board alleging breach of contractual obligations after the South African all-rounder signed for Mumbai Indians for IPL 2025, pulling out of PSL 2025. This season is the first in which the PSL will be played concurrently with the IPL. The IPL will run from March 22nd to May 25th, the PSL from April 11th to May 18th. Kolkata Knight Riders have brought in left-arm seamer Chetan Sakaria as a replacement for tearaway Umran Malik, who has been sidelined from IPL 2025. Malik has not played a competitive match since IPL 2024 when he played just one game for Sunrisers Hyderabad. Sakaria is also working his way back from injury as he was last seen in action at a competitive level during the Ranji Trophy match for Saurashtra in February 2024. 5 new movies opened wide in North American theaters this weekend, including a starry spy picture from Steven Soderbergh, an A24 thriller, a Looney Tunes movie, and a high-concept action comedy with The Boys star Jack Quaid. But the myriad options did not result in box office gold. When final receipts are tallied, it's likely going to be the lowest grossing weekend of the year to date, with around $54 million in total ticket sales. Novocaine led the pack with $8.7 million according to studio estimates, lower than expected. The Bong Joon-ho and Robert Pattinson sci-fi Mickey 17 and the well-reviewed Soderbergh spy pick with Kate Blanchett and Michael Fassbender, Black Bag, were neck and neck for second and third place, both reporting $7.5 million weekends. ASAP Rocky headlined the Rolling Loud Music Festival on a Saturday in Los Angeles. The event is the largest hip-hop festival, and this year's lineup include ASAP Rocky, Peso Pluma, and Playboy Carti. ASAP Rocky, who took the stage for the first time since being found not guilty in his felony assault trial, spoke about the Los Angeles wildfires, immigration laws, and the importance of unity. On Sunday, a Shenzhen-based robotics company unveiled a new product featuring a robot that replicated the iconic dance of Axe Gang from the movie Kung Fu Hustle in South China's Guangdong province. Guided by staff members, the robot danced gracefully, perfectly showcasing its agility and flexibility. Earlier, another robot developed by the same company, capable of running and performing front flips, sparked widespread discussion among netizens and became a trending topic online. Shahana Goswami and Payal Kapadia spoke about their respective wins on Sunday at the Asian Film Awards in Hong Kong. The top prizes for the Best Film and Best Actress went to the two films produced in India. Shahana Goswami took home the trophy for Best Actress for her performance in Santosh.
Actually quite a pleasant journey, and like I said to you earlier, I think the challenging part was to believe that I could play the part, because I was very nervous about playing the part and feeling like I was acting, and I didn't want it to seem like acting. It should feel real and the character should feel real, and you always have this imposter syndrome, and things like this helps when you realize, oh, maybe you didn't do such a bad job. So now I have a little bit more confidence in myself.
And with that is a wrap from me. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.
What's wrong with the car? It's okay, lads. I'm with the AA. Bombay mix.
Because the AA has more expert patrols across the country, you'll be back on the road in no time. No wonder more people choose the AA. Join today.
Taste the vinegar zing. Enjoy the barbecue tang. Get new Doritos and Minecraft movie flavors while you can.
Wouldn't life be so much easier if you could control your blinds at the touch of a button? With ultra smart blinds from Appeal, there's no chains, cords or wiring because these stylish blinds are driven by a rechargeable power pack. New ultra smart blinds from Appeal, the intelligent solution for home shading.
Right now, UNICEF is supporting millions of children in emergencies around the world. It's what they do. Teams are bringing emergency supplies to children affected by the crisis in Gaza, healthcare and safe spaces for Ukraine's children, and medical supplies for children in Yemen. £10 could help bring safe drinking water and life-saving therapeutic food. Search UNICEF supplies online or text supplies to 85525. Your support brings hope for children caught in crisis.
Why do broadband switchers choose EE? Because for just $26.99 a month, you get our most reliable full fiber with nothing to pay up front. So you can keep working while the kids nail dance practice or help them get that homework project off the ground. Plus, we'll even give you up to £300 towards your leaving fee. And we'll handle the switch for you. Search EE Broadband Deals.
Find a pet-friendly Italian restaurant with outdoor seating nearby and text it to Luca.
Find it real quick. Send it to the click. Well, the place is sick.
Get your Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra with Galaxy AI and save up to £744 when you trade in a Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra on 3. Life needs a big network.
This is Harvard India Conference. We talk about what India will be going forward. The fact that you chose to call your company Bharat, the fact that you chose to come back at a time when Indian healthcare and biotechnology industry was not where it is right now. The fact that starting a company wasn't so easy in India. And the fact that the STEM industry, the scientific R&D industry in India was not where it was almost 30 years back. What got you here? This is Harvard India Conference. We talk about what India will be going forward. The fact that you chose to call your company Bharat, the fact that you chose to come back at a time when Indian healthcare and biotechnology industry was not where it is right now. The fact that starting a company wasn't so easy in India. And the fact that the STEM industry, the scientific R&D industry in India was not where it was almost 30 years back. What got you here? Because as I said, a conversation with a woman entrepreneur should start with about what it is like to be a woman entrepreneur in India.
It's this journey for us, for me, because I have to mention to you that all the introduction that was made with all humility, I would have to share it along with my executive chairman.
A very good afternoon. You're watching NDTV 24/7. I'm Divya Vadva. Let's get you the latest, and that's US President Donald Trump has said that he will be speaking with Russian President Vladimir Putin on Tuesday as he pushes to end the war in Ukraine. Trump said that land and power plants are part of the conversation around bringing the war to a close.
We're doing pretty well, I think, with Russia. See if we have something to announce maybe by Tuesday. I'll be speaking to President Putin on Tuesday, and a lot of work's been done over the weekend. We want to see if we can bring that war to an end. Maybe we can, maybe we can't, but I think we have a very good chance. We'll be talking about land. There's a lot of land. It's a lot different than it was before the war, you know. And we'll be talking about land. We'll be talking about power plants. That's it's a big question. But I think we have a lot of it already discussed very much by both sides. We're already talking about that. Dividing up certain assets. Yeah. And they've been working on that.
Moscow is preparing for a possible meeting between Russian President Vladimir Putin and US President Donald Trump. According to the Russian presidential aide, Yuri Ushakov, has gone on to state that if necessary, the meeting would take place. And Ushakov has also noted that Russia and the United States maintain communication at various levels and could swiftly arrange a meeting or phone conversation regarding the proposed 30-day ceasefire. Ushakov has argued that it primarily serves an opportunity for Ukraine's struggling military to regroup. Ushakov stated that as Russian forces continue advancing on multiple fronts, the ceasefire proposal could be seen as a tactic to buy time for Ukraine to rearm and redeploy. Russia's defense ministry announced that its forces had taken control of 2 more settlements in its western Kursk region, while Ukrainian President Zelensky denied claims that Ukrainian forces had been encircled in Kursk. According to the Russian Defense Ministry, its troops captured the villages of Rubanishchina and Zaolishchenka during their offensive operations in Kursk and attacked Ukrainian tanks and infantry. This was the fighting vehicles. Now, Zelensky, in a social media post on the same very day, went ahead and denied his troops were encircled in Kursk and stating that Ukrainian soldiers remain operational in the region. Zelensky also warned that Russian troops are in fact amassing along Ukraine's eastern border and planning to attack Ukraine's northeastern region. He also went on to say that Ukraine was aware of this and would respond to the attempt. Ukrainian President Zelensky said his country needs help like never before after about 25 countries convened on Saturday for the second round of talks hosted by UK Prime Minister Starmer. Zelensky has accused Putin of dragging out the war and an agreement to a ceasefire in a 2-hour virtual meeting hosted by UK Prime Minister Starmer. He urged allies to apply active pressure on Russia and highlighted the continuation of sanctions.
Well, we talked about who would delay peace and slow everything down, and now we see it clearly. A ceasefire could have already happened, but Russia is doing everything to prevent it. Putin is lying to everyone about the situation on the ground, especially about what's happening in the Kursk region, where our Ukrainian forces continue their operations. Our troops have also stabilized the situation on the front in Donetsk region, I mean Pokrovsk. It's a big work of our heroes and this big success, I think so. And Putin is also lying about how a ceasefire is supposedly too complicated. In reality, everything can be controlled, and we have discussed this with the Americans. The truth is, Putin has already dragged out the war for nearly a week after the talks in Jeddah in Saudi, and he will keep dragging it out.
Зараз потрібно допомагати як ніколи. Всі привітали Україну з реальною перемогою в Джиді, перемогою дипломатії. Всі вважають, що це серйозний прогрес. І викрутитися тепер Росії буде складно. Вона повинна продемонструвати, якщо вона йде на ceasefire, що вона підтримує закінчення війни, або вона хоче продовжувати війну.
And British Prime Minister Starmer urged Russian President Vladimir Putin to sign up to a ceasefire in its war against Ukraine and said that allies will keep increasing the pressure on Kremlin. Also present were leaders from Australia, Canada, New Zealand and officials from NATO and European Union's executive. The United States was not represented as far as this meeting is concerned.
President Zelensky has shown once again and beyond any doubt that Ukraine is the party of peace. Volodymyr has committed to a 30-day unconditional ceasefire. But Putin is trying to delay. Sooner or later, Putin will have to come to the table. So this is the moment. Let the guns fall silent. Let the barbaric attacks on Ukraine once and for all stop, and agree to a ceasefire now. We agreed we will keep increasing the pressure on Russia, keep the military aid flowing to Ukraine, and keep tightening the restrictions on Russia's economy to weaken Putin's war machine and bring him to the table.
And a charity in northern Gaza has been distributing hot meals to war-weary Palestinians during the Muslim fasting month of Ramadan. Palestinians in Gaza have struggled to feed their families as Israel's 2-week-long blockade of Gaza continues. Many have resorted to charities to get hot meals for their children. The war has left most of Gaza's population of over 2 million dependent on international aid. About 600 aid trucks had entered daily since the ceasefire that began on the 19th of January. Now, aid groups have expressed concerns that gains that they made during the 6-week ceasefire to avert famine in parts of the Strip have been diminishing. And Palestinians in Gaza City are struggling to find regular supplies of fresh water, with many waiting for days to fill up makeshift water containers. Now, as people walk long distances to get their hands on the essence of life, for 2 weeks, Israel has barred the delivery of food, fuel and other supplies to Gaza's roughly 2 million Palestinians and cut electricity to a desalination. This is a plant providing water to part of the territory a week ago to pressure Hamas to accept the ceasefire's second phase. Crowds of protesters took to the streets of Tel Aviv for the weekly demonstration demanding immediate release of the remaining hostages held in Gaza. Hamas said that it will only release an American Israeli and the bodies of 4 other hostages if Israel implements their ceasefire agreement, calling it an exceptional deal aimed at getting the truce back on track. Meanwhile, Israeli airstrikes killed 9 people in Gaza. A senior Hamas official said that long-delayed talks over the ceasefire's second phase would need to begin the day of the release and last no longer than 50 days. Israel also would need to stop barring the entry of humanitarian aid and withdraw from a strategic corridor along Gaza's border with Egypt. Throngs of green-clad revelers have filled the streets of America's most Irish big city for the southern part of Boston for St. Patrick's Day parade. The Sunday parade celebrated the heritage and contributions of all those who hail from the Emerald Isle. The parade dates back to the turn of the 20th century and marks St. Patrick's Day and Evacuation Day, when British troops left Boston during the Revolutionary War. People of Irish descent make up more than a fifth of the population of Boston. Shahana Goswami and Pal Kabadia won big at the Asian Film Awards in Hong Kong. The top prizes for Best Film and Best Actress went to the 2 films produced in India. Shahana Goswami took home the trophy Best Actress for her performance in Santosh, and the Best Film Award went to All We Imagine as Light, which also was a winner of the Cannes Film Festival's Grand Prix. The film's director, Pal Kabadia, spoke about the win.
Such amazing work coming out from Asia. And we're just so honored to be part of that community, and especially here because the community is celebrated, and I think that's really important for us to look at all the cinema from Asia and to be part of that. That was already special to be nominated, like we spoke earlier. So it's so great to win this award. But actually it's like, it's very special to win it here in Hong Kong. It's such a wonderful place for cinema. And so to have our film here, it's really special.
It was actually quite a pleasant journey. And like I said to you earlier, I think the challenging part was to believe that I could play the part, because I was very nervous about playing the part and feeling like I was acting. And I didn't want it to seem like acting. It should feel real and the character should feel real. And you always have this imposter syndrome. And things like this helps when you realize, oh, maybe you didn't do such a bad job. So now I have a little bit more confidence in myself.
And we also had Lindsay Lohan and Jamie Lee Curtis have reunited for a sequel to their 2003 film, Freaky Friday. In this new film, it's years after the original switch between Tess and Anna. Anna is a single mom with a teenage daughter and engaged to marry a man with a daughter of his own. As the 2 families navigate blending their families, another switch happens. The movie also stars Julia Butters as well as Maitri Ramakrishnan and Mark Harmon. Freaky Friday opens on the 8th of August. Ted Lasso, the series about a fiercely optimistic American soccer coach in London, is set to return for a 4th season, is the announcement that's been made by Apple TV+. Ted Lasso has won 7 Primetime Emmy Awards, including Outstanding Comedy Series for its first 2 seasons. It made stars out of its supporting cast, including Brett Goldstein, as well as Hannah Waddingham and Juno Temple. The latest Snow White movie starring Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot had a scaled-down premiere in Los Angeles. The movie stars Zegler as Snow White and Gadot as the Evil Queen. This is an adaptation of the classic Disney 1937 animation.
But the Queen.
It's amazing. I feel so honored and privileged and lucky to be able to play these timeless, iconic characters. To say the very, very, iconic lines that they say, like magic mirror on the wall. It was a lot of fun playing her. I really enjoyed her deliciousness, and I let myself go all the way with the drama and with the character to really celebrate the Evil Queen, and it was pure joy.
It's the most fun you can have in a movie theater. I really do believe that, to have people whistling along and tapping their feet to the songs. We've written so many new ones for this film as well. The filmmakers have taken such good care of this timeless classic, and the way that a musical brings people together is something to be studied in a lab, honestly, and it's just the most fun movie-going experience, and I really hope that it encourages people to go out and see it in a theater, because that's the best experience to see any film, let alone ours, and let alone a musical.
And a coin honoring John Lennon was unveiled by the Royal Mint in Britain, released during the year that the iconic singer-songwriter would have turned 85 years old. The coin is marked with the former Beatles' name, a portrait of his face in profile, and the name of his famous solo hit and album, Imagine. The image of the late star's face is based on a picture of him taken by music industry photographer Bob Gruen on the roof of Lennon's penthouse in New York City. Lennon is the latest star to be honored with his own coin. Others celebrated in the Mint's ongoing Music Legends coin series includes Queen, David Bowie, as well as fellow Beatle. This is Paul McCartney, and also available in a variety of finishes, including color editions. The John Lennon coin will become available from today at the site of the Royal Mints. George Clooney made his Broadway debut with the first performance of the new stage adaptation of Good Night and Good Luck. The play, co-written by Clooney and Grant Heslov, is based on their 2005 movie by the same title, and it tells the story of a broadcast journalist, Edward Murrow, and his attempts to bring down Senator Joseph McCarthy in 1958. This is the play that will open officially on the 3rd of April and will run until the 8th of June at the Winter Garden Theatre. At the LA premiere of documentary series #1 on the Call Sheet, Jamie Foxx has joined forces with Kevin Hart to celebrate black men and women in Hollywood in #1 on Call Street. The 2-part documentary follows the ups and downs of some of Hollywood's biggest stars and adversities they had to overcome throughout their careers before landing their leading roles. Actor Jamie Foxx looked back on his 2023 hospital treatment and said that every prayer counted during his recovery.
I needed every prayer, man. She was just talking about my special. I said, man, that special, man, I had to let people know, man. That thing was almost a wrap. I was like, oh, man, please. So every prayer counted. And now to be able to have these moments, you cherish them more. I'm going to tell you what it's like. You ever take a picture on your cell phone and you hit that first filter and that thing brighten up? That's the way everything look right now. It's so pivotal. Look at what the world is doing right now. Look, I stay out of all of it, but they're trying to erase the history and all that. Look, man, we wanted to leave this for that young kid, young black kid, young black girl, and say, man, look at your peers. Look what you can achieve. And that's what it's about. Sometimes people get in a narrative of like, why y'all saying that? Why you saying Latino? Why you saying black? Because we're proud. And we're trying to raise these kids so they can have a different image of what life is. Because right now, what that kid got to look forward to? Cop pulling them over, being a suspect, all these different things that we sort of look past, but that's real. So how about having Denzel? All right, okay. How about having Morgan Freeman? How about having all these guys, Halle Berry, Viola Davis, on a documentary saying you could do it? Who wouldn't want to root for that? How could you find something bad in that? And that's what's great about this.
Let's get you more news, and that is in regard to the return of Sunita Williams. And of course, with a lot of curiosity that's been building over the return of the pair of US astronauts stuck for more than 9 months on the International Space Station. Now, the NASA has gone ahead and confirmed that the duo will return to Earth tomorrow, the 18th of March, and it is going to take place between Tuesday night and Wednesday morning at about 3:27 a.m. Indian Standard Time. Sunita Williams and Butch Wilmore will be transported home aboard that SpaceX Crew Dragon craft.
The American Space Agency, NASA, has announced an updated schedule for the return of Indian origin astronaut Sunita Williams. They have announced that now she should be landing back on Earth on March 18th. This is being done so that the weather conditions off the coast of Florida are conducive for the astronauts to be picked up from the ocean. Earlier, NASA had announced that they would return not before March 19th. This now marks the beginning of the end of a long sojourn for astronauts Sunita Williams and Butch Wilmore, who have been at the International Space Station for over 9 months. What began as an 8-day journey extended to many months. Now they are all set to return to Earth on a SpaceX Crew Dragon. So four astronauts will return back to Earth on March 18th. So good news for the family of astronaut Sunita Williams and Butch Wilmore as they come back to Earth. But return to Earth is a very tricky process. And let us pray that everything goes well. So astronaut Sunita Williams hopefully will be back on Earth very soon. In New Delhi, Pallav Bagla, NDTV.
Let's get you the latest with breaking news coming in regard to Nitish Katara's case. The Supreme Court has gone ahead, and this is in regard to the notice, a contempt notice to the Delhi Home Secretary, a notice over the convict's remission plea, and the convict Sukhdev Pelwan has sought a remission. The Supreme Court is asking the Home Secretary to appear in court, saying why has there been a delay in the response on the plea, and that is really what was said in the Supreme Court. To know more on this, we have Nupur joining us. Nupur, take us to the proceedings in court.
Today, in a very big development, the Supreme Court, in fact, has issued a show cause notice and has asked Delhi Home Secretary, Principal Home Secretary, to be present in court via video conference and then explain in the next hearing on March 28 that why have they not acted upon the remission plea of Sukhdev Pelwan. The Supreme Court has had previously, in fact, had the Delhi government. The Delhi government had made these statements. It's a court that will decide on the plea. The Supreme Court today said that there was complete laxity on the part of the Delhi government, and this has become a repetitive thing from over several months. And Justice Abhay Oka, in fact, said that till the time the court does not issue contempt notice, the government do not act. This big remark was in fact made by the Supreme Court judge, Justice Abhay Oka, on the laxity shown by the Delhi government. This case actually pertains to the gruesome murder of Nitish Katara in the honor killing case, and Sukhdev Pelwan was in fact given a life sentence in this murder after he was convicted, and it was said that till 20 years he cannot seek remission. Now 20 years of his life sentence are over and he has been seeking remission. and Delhi government has not yet responded or not decided on it. Today, counsel appearing for Delhi government, in fact, made these in defense of the Delhi government, in fact, told the court that witnesses in the case feel threatened by Sukhdev Pahalwan, and they feel that if Sukhdev Pahalwan comes out, it will be threat to their life. But the point that the Supreme Court raised is that it is not the matter that they decide in favor or against, but the matter is that they have shown laxity in acting upon the remission plea, and they have not even filed an application seeking extension of time in the Supreme Court, explaining that why it is taking them so much of time. So now the Supreme Court has in fact issued a contempt notice to the Delhi government and has sought explanation that why was there a laxity and delay on the part of Delhi government.
Right, Nupur, of course, the court there really pulling up the Home Secretary and a notice, like you mentioned, over the convict's remission plea, asking as to why is it that the convict who has been seeking for remission has been a delay as far as a response on the plea is concerned. In other news, Prime Minister Modi today, during a podcast which went on for about at least 3 hours with American scientist Lex Fridman, slammed the United Nations and other international organizations amid the rising global conflicts, referring to the ongoing Middle East war as well as the China and US tensions. According to Prime Minister Modi, the organizations have become almost irrelevant as there's no reform left in them. The Prime Minister shared his thoughts on the Russia-Ukraine war with his ties with US President Donald Trump. And he also, when asked about the 2002 riots in Gujarat, he spoke about that as well.
भारत और चीन का संबंध ये कोई आज का नहीं है। दोनों पुरातन संस्कृति है, पुरातन सिविलाइजेशन है और मॉडर्न वर्ल्ड में भी अपनी उनकी भूमिका है। डिफरेंसेस तो होते हैं, दो पड़ोसी देश होते हैं तो कुछ ना कुछ तो होता है। ऑकेजनल डिसएग्रीमेंट भी बहुत स्वाभाविक है, कोई ऐसा तो हर चीज नहीं होता, एक परिवार में भी रहता।
Sadly, animal cruelty has reached an appalling high. It's the worst animal rescue emergency in our recent history, and we urgently need your help. The RSPCA is the only charity in England and Wales dedicated to animals of every kind. Without us, those facing serious abuse and neglect would simply not be saved. Like you, we can't bear to think of them suffering. That's why, despite the high numbers, we must reach them before it's too late. If you can help us carry on this vital work with a monthly gift, please call or text the number on screen now. Anything you can give would help so much. It'll help us answer more calls. It'll help us rescue more animals in danger and help provide them with the urgent medical treatment, food and loving care they need. I promise we will never give up trying to save every animal we can, but we need your help now more than ever. I can assure you, your gift will help save animals' lives every day. Please call 0800 234 6025, text SAVE to 78866, or visit our website to start your monthly donation today. Thank you.
Quidco gives you cash back every time you shop on over 5,000 brands. It always pays to Quidco. Sign up and start saving today. Visit quidco.com.
I like making sure I've got all the right tools for the job. And now that I'm 50, that means looking after the life I've built, protecting my lot if anything happened to me. That's why I decided to learn more about over 50s life insurance from Cover Today. They're the only over 50s life insurer with no waiting period, unlike other insurers who could make you wait up to 2 years for full cover. With Cover Today, you're fully covered from day one. And you're covered for the whole of your life. Plus, unlike other things in life, the price never goes up. Learning more couldn't be simpler. Go online or talk to their friendly UK team in just one phone call.
Cover Today are the only over 50s life insurer with no waiting period and no annoying trips to the doctors either. Plus, you get your choice of a £125 gift card.
Cover Today has given me genuine peace of mind. And now that's done, I can get on with something much more interesting.
To find out more about Cover Today, call our friendly UK team on 0808 143 4733 or visit covertoday.co.uk.
Don't you have Watchdog Lock? No! What's that? Don't be a victim, yeah. Get Watchdog's 3-star solid secure diamond locks. They are anti-pick, anti-snap, anti-bump. बोले तो fully anti-चोर. जब तक जोड़ेंगे नहीं, तब तक छोड़ेंगे.
Wouldn't life be so much easier if you could control your blinds at the touch of a button? With Ultra Smart Blinds from Appeal, there's no chains, cords or wiring because these stylish blinds are driven by a rechargeable power pack. New Ultra Smart Blinds from Appeal, the intelligent solution for home shading.
With Post Office Over 50s life cover, enjoy peace of mind knowing your family will receive a guaranteed payout when you're gone. UK resident 50 to 80, your guaranteed acceptance. No health checks and from just £1.15 a week. Plus free 24/7 GP access with the health and wellbeing benefit. Purchase and receive a £125 gift card for amazon.co.uk, Tesco or M&S. Call Post Office on 0800 171 2211.
Why do broadband switchers choose EE? Because for just $26.99 a month, you get our most reliable full fiber with nothing to pay up front. So you can keep working while the kids nail dance practice or help them get that homework project off the ground. Plus, we'll even give you up to £300 towards your leaving fee. And we'll handle the switch for you. Search EE Broadband Deals.
This all started with one simple idea: to put high-quality watches within everyone's reach. We knew to do this, our English design needed Swiss precision. Never heard of us? Christopher Ward. Do your research.
Find a pet-friendly Italian restaurant with outdoor seating nearby and text it to Luca.
Find it real quick. Send it to the click. Well, place is sick.
Get your Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra with Galaxy AI and save up to £744 when you trade in a Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra on 3. Life needs a big network.
I gotta be me. I gotta be me. What else can
This lunchtime, go all Crispin with Walkers.
We know travel can be confusing. That's why I use travelup.com. You can upgrade your seat, one way or return, increase your baggage allowance, filter by flight time, journey duration, and customer rating. And while you're away, TravelUp has you covered. From weather updates and on-demand taxi services to event and excursion tickets, all at your fingertips. Book now on travelup.com or call 0207 580 5000. TravelUp, flights, hotels, holidays.
This is NDTV, and you're watching NDTV 24/7.
It's a Monday morning and you are watching the World 24/7 on the NDTV network. We've got an action-packed bulletin lined up for you. Let's begin with the top stories you need to know. US President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin are expected to speak this week as the US tries to broker a ceasefire in the Russia-Ukraine war. National Security Advisor G. Doval held bilateral talks with US Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard and chaired a conclave of top global intelligence czars. India and New Zealand announced the relaunch of free trade agreement talks. After a 10-year break, This as New Zealand Prime Minister Christopher Luxon kickstarts a 5-day visit in India. A night meant for celebration turned into a horrific tragedy in North Macedonia when a nightclub caught fire, leading to 59 deaths. Around 1,500 people were attending a concert inside that venue. In the United States, at least 37 people have died across Missouri, Arkansas, Texas, Oklahoma, Kansas, Alabama, and Mississippi as powerful storm systems swept through the Midwest and the South. The Vatican has released the first photo of Pope Francis at the chapel in Rome since his hospitalization on the 14th of February. Well, a big focus. US President Donald Trump and his Russian counterpart Vladimir Putin are expected to speak this week. This is what Special Envoy Steve Witkoff has said, as Russia has yet to agree to a US brokered ceasefire proposal with Ukraine. In fact, Steve Witkoff has said that he believes a deal would be reached in the coming weeks. In other news, US Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard joined intelligence and security officials from about 20 countries for a conclave chaired by National Security Advisor G. Doval in Delhi. This actually makes her the first high-ranking official from the second Donald Trump administration to visit our country. But besides the US Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard, Canadian spy chief Daniel Rogers and Britain's MI6 boss Richard Moore are among the top global intelligence czars who've converged in India this last weekend. For further clarity, we have with us strategic affairs expert Brahmachalani on the broadcast. As always, sir, thank you so much for making time for us. Now, Tulsi Gabbard's trip to India, we know it's a part of a multi-nation tour, but how significant would you argue her visit is from a strategic affairs perspective?
It's very important in the bilateral context because she is a very important player in the Trump administration, and it's important both for the US and India to mend this relationship, which came under somewhat pressure during the Biden era. For the US, relations with India are very important, in fact critical, to balance China and the Indo-Pacific. Without a strong relationship with the rising India, the Trump administration cannot pursue its free and open Indo-Pacific strategy.
Indeed.
And for India, the relationship with the United States is critical to its economic and military security. Therefore, it's in the interest of both countries to mend that relationship, to ensure that the relationship regains its momentum, the momentum that we saw in the first term of the Trump administration.
Right.
The fact that the Trump is back in the White House is good news for the US-India relationship.
In fact, as I mentioned, this is the first high-level visit to India by a top official from the Trump administration, Trump 2.0. Some say Tulsi Gabbard's visit actually symbolizes the evolving nature of US and India intelligence cooperation. Do you agree, sir?
Well, the relations between the United States and India have seen significant ups and downs over the years. The intelligence sharing aspect of the relationship gained space, gained traction in the Trump first administration.
Yes.
Then we saw during the Biden presidency how the US played the Khalistan card against India quite openly. For example, when Prime Minister Modi went to the US to take part in the Quad Summit last September 2024, on the eve of his visit, the White House hosted a meeting with Khalistan militants where senior intelligence and administration officials briefed these militants. This was a clear message to India that the US will play the Khalistan card. And then we also saw during the Biden presidency, the State Department, especially the Secretary of State, Blinken, playing the human rights card against India. So given what we saw in the last 3 years in particular, building trust became difficult. And now that Tulsi Gabbard is in New Delhi, her visit is going to focus on three critical issues. One is counterterrorism, intelligence sharing, and third is cybersecurity. And to achieve close collaboration on all three fronts, it's very important for the two countries to rebuild trust.
Thank you so much, sir, for joining us with your views. As always, we will, of course, revert to you for the outcomes of this visit. But meanwhile, India and New Zealand have announced the relaunch of free trade agreement talks after a 10-year break. And the announcement of the talks comes as India has stated its aim to conclude trade negotiations with the United States and the European Union this year. This, as New Zealand Prime Minister Christopher Luxon arrived in New Delhi for a 5-day visit, which will last until the 20th of this month. He is scheduled to meet Prime Minister Modi today at Hyderabad House, where the leaders are expected to exchange MOUs. Well, with that, let's take you to North Macedonia, which has declared a 7-day period of mourning after a fire in a nightclub left at least 59 people dead and scores injured, as authorities have detained 15 people for questioning, and the Interior Minister said a preliminary inspection revealed that the club was operating without a proper license. But the fire ripped through the Pulse nightclub during a hip-hop concert. 1,500 people are said to have attended this concert, and only one member of the band that was performing is said to have survived and was being treated in hospital. This fire, as per preliminary reports, is thought to have been triggered by the use of special effects pyrotechnic devices. Well, in other news, authorities have discovered clothing believed to belong to missing University of Pittsburgh student Sudiksha Konanki on a lounge chair at the Dominican Republic beach, where she mysteriously vanished over a week ago. In fact, images obtained by CDN show a white netted sarong draped over a beach chair and also a pair of sand-covered beige flip-flops next to it. Investigators have stated that the clothing appeared undisturbed and matched the footage that you see on the left side of your screens. Staying with updates from the US, unusually vicious and damaging weather across multiple US states spawned violent tornadoes, blinding dust storms, and fast-moving wildfires this weekend, leaving at least 37 people dead. In fact, the dynamic storm that began on Friday earned an unusual high-risk designation from weather forecasters. Still, experts say it's not unusual to see such weather extremes in the month of March. But wind-driven wildfires caused extensive damage in Texas and Oklahoma, and officials have warned that parts of both states will actually again face an increased risk of fire danger this week as well. Switching tracks, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, in a podcast with Lex Friedman, has expressed deep admiration for Donald Trump, stressing the man has courage and makes his own decisions, and this at a time when the US president has imposed punitive tariffs on India. In fact, Prime Minister Modi also asserted that there was a concerted effort to create the perception that the 2002 riots were the biggest ever in Gujarat, which he says that was far from reality. Our Prime Minister also shred Pakistan in this podcast. Here are some snippets for you. Listen in.
आपकी अमेरिका की लाइफ में लिए इम्पॉसिबल है कि हजारों की भीड़ में अमेरिकन राष्ट्रपति चल पड़े, एक पल का भी विलंब किए बिना तो मेरे साथ चल पड़े भीड़ में। अमेरिका की जो सुरक्षा तंत्र था पूरा एकदम से वो हो गया था, डिस्टर्ब हो गया था। मेरे लिए टच कर गया कि इस व्यक्ति में हिम्मत है, ये डिसीजन खुद लेते हैं। और दूसरा, मोदी पर उनको भरोसा है कि मोदी ले जा रहा है तो चलिए चलते हैं। और जब उन पर गोली चली अब इस चुनाव कैंपेन में, तो मुझे राष्ट्रपति ट्रंप एक ही नजर आए। उस स्टेडियम में मेरा हाथ पकड़ करके चलने वाले ट्रंप और गोली लगने के बाद भी अमेरिका के लिए जीना, अमेरिका के लिए ही जिंदगी, ये जो उनका रिफ्लेक्शन था, क्योंकि मैं नेशन फर्स्ट वाला हूँ, वे अमेरिका फर्स्ट वाले हैं, मैं भारत फर्स्ट वाला हूँ, तो हमारी जोड़ी बराबर जम जाती है। तो कहते हैं ये बहुत बड़े राइट वगैरह, तो ये भ्रम फैलाया गया है। अगर 2002 के पहले का डेटा देखें तो पता चलता है कि गुजरात में कितने दंगे होते थे। हमेशा कहीं ना कहीं कर्फ्यू लगा रहता था। पतंग के अंदर कम्युनल वायलेंस हो जाए, साइकिल टकरा जाने पर कम्युनल वायलेंस हो जाए। 2002 से पहले गुजरात में 250 से ज्यादा बड़े दंगे हुए थे और 1969 में जो दंगे हुए थे वो तो करीब 6 महीना चले थे और इतनी बड़ी घटना एक ऐसा स्पार्किंग पॉइंट बन गया कि कुछ लोगों की हिंसा हो गई, लेकिन न्यायालय ने उसको बहुत डिटेल में देखा है। लंबे अरसे, और उस समय हमारे जो विरोध के लोग हैं वो सरकार में थे और वो तो चाहते थे कि हम पर जितने आरोप लगे थे हमको सजा हो जाए, लेकिन उनके लाखों कोशिश के बाद भी जुडिशरी ने पूरी तरह डिटेल में उसका एनालिसिस किया, 2 बार किया और अब पूरी तरह निर्दोष। जिन लोगों ने गुनाह किया था उनके लिए न्यायालय ने अपना काम किया है। उन्होंने अपना पाने के बाद उनको लगना चाहिए था कि चलो भाई हमें हमारा मिल गया, भारत का धन्यवाद करें, हम सुख से जिए। उसके बजाय उन्होंने लगातार भारत से संघर्ष का रास्ता चुना। अब प्रॉक्सी वॉर चल रहा है। अब ये कोई आइडियोलॉजी नहीं है, आइडियोलॉजी ऐसी थोड़ी होती है, लोगों को मारो काटो, टेररिस्टों को एक्सपोर्ट करने का काम चल रहा है। और सिर्फ हमारे साथ ही नहीं, अब दुनिया में कहीं पर भी टेररिस्ट की घटना घटती है तो कहीं न कहीं सूत्र पाकिस्तान जाकर के अटकते हैं। तो दुनिया पहचान गई है कि ये प्रकार से आतंकवादी प्रवृत्ति, आतंकवादी मानसिकता, और वो सिर्फ भारत ही नहीं, दुनिया भर के लिए परेशानी का केंद्र बन चुका है। और हम लगातार उनको कहते रहे हैं कि इस रास्ते से किसका भला होगा, आप आतंकवाद के रास्ते को छोड़ दीजिए, ये स्टेट स्पॉन्सर्ड टेररिज्म जो है वो बंद होना चाहिए।
And speaking of Pakistan, a devastating attack on a bus carrying paramilitary troops in Balochistan has resulted in the deaths of 5 soldiers and also injured over 30 people. This actually marks the second major attack on security forces in the region, and the Balochistan Liberation Army has claimed responsibility for this attack. Well, stopping for a quick break for now. Back in a moment. Do stay tuned.
It feels good knowing that your future's in hand. Evlo can offer you a loan from £1,000 to £15,000, whether it's for home improvements or for some of life's big moments. Evlo looks beyond your credit score and always takes a case-by-case approach. Visit evlo.co.uk to get your conditional decision in minutes.
Today, criminals can use AI to invade your online privacy. Norton VPN Ultimate. Advanced tech for advanced threats.
This is an important message for people living with diabetes from people living with diabetes.
When I was experiencing the symptoms of diabetes, I didn't know what was going on.
You go on the internet and it's full of horror stories. You don't know where to begin and you don't know what to believe.
I didn't understand about carbs, I didn't understand about blood glucose levels.
I was scared and I was worried.
I didn't understand diabetes full stop.
That's why the support I get as a Diabetes UK member is so important.
You can become a Diabetes UK member too. To join us now, just call 0800 144 5406 and become a member today for just £3 a month. When you do, you'll receive a practical guide specific to your type of diabetes and a copy of Balance magazine 4 times a year. Balance is filled with news and inspiring real-life stories from members just like you. And you'll receive regular emails and vital updates that will help you feel informed and supported. Plus, you'll help support research that could lead to better treatments for all types of diabetes.
Membership makes life better because you're not alone anymore.
Call 0800 144 5406 or go online to become a Diabetes UK member for just £3 a month, because membership can help you learn to live better with diabetes.
I'll fix him, love. Poor pet. Just shows you never know what's going to happen. Which reminds me, I need to protect the life we've built. That's why I'm looking into Smart Family Life Insurance.
Hi, I'd like a quick quote, please.
OK. You can choose a benefit amount up to £750,000, depending on your age. If you're a UK resident aged 18 to 64, you can apply with just a few health and lifestyle questions. For £250,000 of cover, the price starts at just £14.77 a month.
That's less than I thought. And it could help my husband with the mortgage.
Just like families, not all life insurance is the same. That's why we offer the Smart Family Guarantee.
That's good to know.
You'll also receive a 100% advance in the event of terminal illness and 10% cash back on your first year's premiums. That's the Smart Cashback. Plus, you'll also get your choice of a £125 gift card.
Protect the life you've built the smart way. To get a free quote today, call our specialist UK team on 0800 977 5753 or visit smartinsurance.co.uk.
In today's interconnected world, India's voice is more crucial than ever. When India speaks, the world listens. At NDTV World, we are that voice, bringing you intelligent and insightful news from India and beyond. From geopolitics and diplomacy to economic shifts, migrations, tech disruptions, and the stories of our diaspora. We cover the news that shapes our global future. NDTV World, your new home for global news, is here.
One of your primary concerns and one of your primary responsibilities is to deal with the threat of terror. And at the moment, we see a great deal of that out of Yemen. We see attacks on shipping taking place, and we see the United States being very much on the offensive. Is that a prelude for something larger, perhaps even a ground offensive going forward?
I mean, you look at President Trump's leadership going back through his first term as president, he has been and remains very committed to combating and defeating the threat of Islamist terrorism that not only affects the United States, the American people, our own safety and security, but it is affecting so many people in different parts of the world. We can see different terrorist groups, the Houthis in Yemen being one of them, that President Trump has redesignated after President Biden took them off of the terrorist list, redesignated them appropriately as a terrorist organization, and taking action where the previous administration failed to.
Right.
The Houthis have been disrupting maritime trade and passage for a very long time, and no serious effort has been taken to stop that disruption. Our country and other countries should not be in a position to have to make a decision to reroute commerce going through that area simply because of the Houthi threat that exists. So President Trump has taken decisive action for our own safety, security, and prosperity. And I know we'll look to other affected countries, as there are many who are impacted by this, to similarly take action.
Welcome back. The United States has flown more than 200 immigrants, alleged members of a Venezuelan gang, to be imprisoned in El Salvador. This is what President Nayib Bukele has said after Donald Trump controversially invoked wartime legislation to expel them. In fact, the deportations took place despite a U.S. federal judge granting a temporary suspension of the expulsions order, apparently as planes were already headed to El Salvador. For quick clarity, we have with us live from Washington, D.C., Daniel Block, who's a senior editor, Foreign Affairs, and a contributing editor at the Washington Monthly. Thanks so much, Daniel, as always, for making time for us. Now, we understand that these deportations took place despite a federal judge's order temporarily banning the expulsions?
That's correct. And it really gets to the heart in some ways of what makes this such an important moment in the Trump administration, where there's been this debate going on since he took office about whether he'll actually listen to the courts. So during Trump's first term, he took many steps that were deemed unconstitutional by judges, and he largely, and in fact, I think entirely respected those decisions. So when the courts told him, you can't do something, he stopped. They reversed the policy. there's been some speculation this time around that that won't be the case. And this is the first instance, I think, where it seems pretty clear cut, at least to me, that the judge said one thing and he did another. The judge said in his order, if the planes are in the air, turn them around, fly them back to the United States. And they didn't. And it's still a little unclear if the planes had actually landed in El Salvador, if the whole operation was completed before the judge's order came down. But the reporting so far suggests it wasn't.
Well, we'll have to wait and watch how this plays out. In fact, we understand that this wartime authority has only been invoked 3 times before. This was during the World War of 1812, and the World War was the first one and the second one. But Daniel, we'll of course revert to you for regular updates. Thanks so much for joining us. Well, in other news, the new Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney is heading to Paris and London today to seek alliances as he deals with US President Donald Trump's attacks on Canada's sovereignty and economy. He will also meet with King Charles III, who's the head of state in Canada. My colleague Maha Siddiqui has been tracking the finer details. She joins us live from Vancouver at the moment. Maha, is the Trump factor the primary reason for Mark Carney's trip?
Well, absolutely. Just like Justin Trudeau ended his tenure by visiting Europe, Mark Carney starting his tenure by visiting Europe, meeting French President Emmanuel Macron, and then the UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer, as well as King Charles III. Now, the focus of this visit is going to be trade and security. As far as trade is concerned, the Canada-EU comprehensive economic and trade agreement will form the basis of the conversation. Apart from that, on the issue of security, we've also seen another critical decision, Mark Carney ordering that they should once again look at the deal that they had with Lockheed Martin for F-35s. 88 planes were being looked at by Canada, but now it's going to be reviewed whether they really need to only work with Lockheed Martin or they could work with other aviation sector companies. Now, this is the focus of the visit. Meanwhile, Carney has also said that he's not immediately looking at going to the US, but there are efforts underway for a conversation between Mark Carney and US President Donald Trump.
As always, Maha, thank you so much for joining us with the lowdown. And finally, NASA has confirmed Sunita Williams' Earth return, with curiosity building over the return of the pair of US astronauts that have been stuck for more than 9 months on the International Space Station. NASA has confirmed that Sunita Williams and Butch Wilmore will return to Earth on Tuesday. That's the 18th of March. Sunita Williams and Butch Wilmore will be transported home aboard a SpaceX Crew Dragon craft. Thanks so much for investing your time in watching this edition of The World 24/7. As always, we'll keep tracking the latest for you. Do stay tuned.
Hi, it's Phoebe from Auto Trader's monthly electric car giveaway, and we're pleased to say that you've won a brand new electric car.
It's a dream, honestly, it really is a dream. Oh my god. Me and my boyfriend talk about the Auto Trader competition every single month. I was waiting for the know you haven't won.
Taste the vinegar zing. Enjoy the barbecue tang. Get new Doritos and Minecraft movie flavors while you can.
With Post Office Over 50's life cover, enjoy peace of mind knowing your family will receive a guaranteed payout when you're gone. UK resident 50 to 80, your guaranteed acceptance. No health checks and from just £1.15 a week. Plus free 24/7 GP access with the health and wellbeing benefit. Purchase and receive a £125 gift card for amazon.co.uk, Tesco or M&S. Call Post Office on 0800 171 2211.
Wouldn't life be so much easier if you could control your blinds at the touch of a button? With Ultra Smart Blinds from Appeal, there's no chains, cords or wiring because these stylish blinds are driven by a rechargeable power pack. New Ultra Smart Blinds from Appeal, the intelligent solution for home shading.
Bel canto. Beautiful song in Italian. It is also the name of our chiming watch, which resonated across the world when released just 2 years ago. Now, the new Bel Canto Classic reminds us that sometimes hearing is believing. Belcanto Classic by Christopher Ward. Do your research.
Why do broadband switchers choose EE? Because for just $26.99 a month, you get our most reliable full fiber with nothing to pay up front. So you can keep working while the kids nail dance practice or help them get that homework project off the ground. Plus, we'll even give you up to £300 towards your leaving fee. And we'll handle the switch for you. Search EE Broadband Deals.
Find a pet-friendly Italian restaurant with outdoor seating nearby and text it to Luca.
Find it real quick. Send it to the click. Well, the place is sick.
Get your Samsung Galaxy S25 Ultra with Galaxy AI and save up to £744 when you trade in a Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra on 3. Life needs a big network.
Goldbank London, your #1 place for buying and selling gold. Visit goldbank.co.uk or call 0203 500 1111.
Welcome back after the break. The Supreme Court dismissed a plea from the parents of the victim in the RG car rape murder case, seeking a fresh probe by the CBI. However, the court allowed them to pursue their case in the Calcutta High Court. Well, the case relates to the brutal rape and murder of a 31-year-old postgraduate trainee doctor at the RG Kaur Medical College and Hospital in Kolkata last August.
सुप्रीम कोर्ट के सामने हम एक प्रेयर रखा था। ये मामला तो हाई कोर्ट में पहले था। हाई कोर्ट पहले दिन सुन के ही सीबीआई को दे दिया था और सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने ये मामले के सोमोटो लेके हमको दिक्कत बढ़ा दिया था। कलकत्ता और दिल्ली बहुत दूर है, ये जाना जाना बहुत दिक्कत है। आज पहली बार हम सुप्रीम कोर्ट में आया था, हम प्रेयर किया था ये मामले को हाई कोर्ट में वापस किया जाए और सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने ये मामले को सुना और उन्होंने बोला ठीक है, हाई कोर्ट ये मामला सुन सकते हैं।
सर, कलकत्ता हाई कोर्ट से आपकी डिमांड क्या है? आप क्या चाह रहे हैं?
उसके सामने 54 क्वेश्चन रखा है जो सीबीआई ने नहीं देखा है, जो छोड़ दिया है जो तदंत का, इससे 54 क्वेश्चन को हाई कोर्ट के सामने रखा है और वो हम बोला है इसका आंसर हमको चाहिए। उन्होंने बोला ठीक है, आपको आंसर मिलेगा। कहाँ से मिलेगा, कौन देगा, ये हमको मालूम नहीं, हमको जानने का जरूरत भी नहीं है। हम सुप्रीम कोर्ट को, हाई कोर्ट को बोला है ये जो क्वेश्चन है इसको जवाब हमको चाहिए।
आपके हिसाब से सीबीआई प्रोब में कुछ कमियां रह गई हैं जिसके लिए
पूरा कमी रही है। सियालदा कोर्ट का जो राय का कॉपी निकला है 172 पता की, उसके 154 केस में जो आयु है सीमा पाहुजा, उन्होंने कोर्ट के सामने सब पूरा बात रखा है। आप भी जो उसको पेश को देखेंगे तो आपको भी मन में आएगा ये सब तदंत तो नहीं हुआ।
और सर, कलकत्ता हाई कोर्ट में आप जो आपकी अब याचिका सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने अलाउ की है कि आप कलकत्ता हाई कोर्ट सुन सकता है, उसके लिए आपका क्या कहना है कि आपको क्या उम्मीद है कलकत्ता हाई कोर्ट?
हम लोग जो जस्टिस के लिए लड़ाई लड़ रहा है उसको हमारा बहुत मौका मिलेगा और हमको जस्टिस मिलेगा।
और सीबीआई प्रोब आप चाह रहे हैं एक बार फिर से होना चाहिए इसमें, दूसरे लोगों के रोल जानने के लिए?
कोर्ट समझेंगे, कोर्ट जो अच्छे समझेंगे वही काम करेंगे। कोर्ट का पास जो आंसर हम मांगा है, कोर्ट कैसे इसको आंसर निकाले देगा उसको
आप अभी सेटिस्फाइड नहीं है जो अभी?
नहीं, सीबीआई जो काम किया है तो उन्होंने ही बोल रहा है हम काम नहीं किया है। वो जो सियालदा कोर्ट के राय का 172 पेज का जो राय है उसका वो 152 नंबर पेज में पूरा सीमा पाहुजा ने अपने आप बोल दिया है।
The Supreme Court has paved way for the Calcutta High Court to get in the fresh petition from the RG Kaur victims' parents. The parents of the RG Kaur doctor who was brutally raped and murdered last August has cast aspersion on the CBI probe. The parents had moved Supreme Court earlier seeking instruction on whether the case will be heard before the Apex Court or before the Calcutta High Court. Today, the Supreme Court has dismissed the petition, saying that Calcutta High Court can be approached. The parents will now move the Calcutta High Court with their petition in this particular investigation. Now, the CBI has filed 2 FIRs in this case. One in the financial irregularities at RG Kaur Medical College and Hospital, and second, the heinous crime that took place of rape and murder within the premises of RG Kaur Hospital. The CBI has already completed investigation in the rape and murder investigation, where they found a sole accused Sanjay Roy guilty. The Sialda court has convicted him to life imprisonment. However, the CBI has said that they could be filing a supplementary charge sheet in basically to look into whether there was any tampering of evidence or any way of trying to put this entire case under the carpet. In the financial irregularity, of course, the CBI still continues to investigate the matter. The parents have said that it can't be the job of just one person, and more people could be involved in this case, and that the CBI has not really investigated the matter properly. The CBI, on its part, had investigated the case with over 150 witnesses being examined. Their forensic team had reconstructed the entire scene at RG Kaur Hospital, and based on scientific evidence and on getting the CCTV visuals of RG Kaur Hospital, they had convicted this particular former civic volunteer of the Kolkata police. Now, once the parents move the Calcutta High Court, we will know whether a fresh probe is required or not when the matter comes up for hearing before the Calcutta High Court.
All right, some more news now. This is from Jammu Kashmir. The police have now filed an FIR against influencer Ori and 7 other people for allegedly consuming alcohol in a hotel in Katra, which is the base camp of Vaishno Devi Shrine. The FIR against Ori and others was filed after a video showed liquor being consumed by a group of people inside the hotel. As per the police, the accused have been booked for violation of rules at a religious place and hurting the sentiments.
वीडियो क्लिप्स सोशल मीडिया में सर्कुलेट हुआ था और हमें होटल के जीएम के थ्रू भी एक जानकारी, एक कंप्लेंट आई हमारे पुलिस स्टेशन में, जिसमें उन्होंने कहा कि एक ओरी नामक जो एक यूट्यूबर इन्फ्लुएंसर है, कुछ दोस्तों के साथ वहाँ पे होटल में था और उन्होंने शराब का मीन्स कंजम्पशन वहाँ पे किया। और आप जानते हैं कि हमारे जो कटरा टाउन एक होली टाउन है और दुनिया भर के लोग वहाँ पे आते हैं, उनकी आस्था वहाँ पे जुड़ी हुई है। और वहाँ के एक सब डिविजनल मजिस्ट्रेट की एक नोटिफिकेशन के तहत अल्कोहल का वहाँ पे कंजम्पशन और सेल प्रोहिबिटेड है, और उसी नोटिफिकेशन का कॉग्निजेंस लेते हुए हमने उन लोगों के खिलाफ एक पर्चा दायर किया है और उसमें इन्वेस्टिगेशन स्टार्ट की है।
Nazir is also now joining us on the broadcast. He's getting us more on that. Nazir, what more details do we have about the action that is being taken?
Well, our police officer was saying we have been reporting it since morning. The influencer was in Katra town, which is the base camp for the Mata Vaishno camp. And people come with certain faith to this place, absolute faith, and they go there. Thousands of people come there every day. And last thing anybody would think or do is consume alcohol in the town. So this is